Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today is Sunday, the 15th of September, 2024. And today's video is actually because September 11th passed. It was in the middle of the week. I make my videos kind of like on Sunday. So I didn't speak about it last Sunday, but I decided to speak about this Sunday. And today is the 15th of September 2024. And once again, I forgot last week to mention that the video is for grown up only. And that goes without saying, by the way. We are talking about the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him. And what he did mainly invasion, which has a lot of stuff, and it has a lot of effing. So this is, it goes without saying, only for grown up. Okay? So, also last week, one comment was a person who wanted to ask questions. Please, if you have questions, just write them in the comment and I'll try to answer them if I can. Today's video is Islamic extremism. If this really does exist, we'll see. We have to ask ourselves first, what is the definition in Islamic term of extremism? And this is very important because actually when we have ISIS and all the Islamic movements that came out and they did a lot of atrocities, the Islamic institutes, whether it's in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, none of them, I mean none, was able to say to these people, you are not practicing Islam. And you wonder why they couldn't say that, because even though they say this is wrong to do this, but they cannot condemn it in the same time. And the reason is, it has roots and events that it happened before, even 1400 years previously. So, in my opinion, I'm sorry to say that this is more deceiving. This is deceiving. They tell you, don't do that. They seem to be doing the right thing. But no. They cannot condemn what ISIS was doing or any of these Al-Shabaab or any of these movements are doing. So according to the Arabic dictionary, the word is tataruf, meaning it would mean practically you are not in the middle. You see, anything like if you have a stick, it has one end on the right and one end on the left and the middle. So if it's 10 centimeter, if it's a ruler, let's say, if it's 12 inches long, 6 is the center, is the middle, is halfway. So when we say centered Muslim or middle way Muslim, this is the person who does not go to either end, way to the right or way to the left. Nowadays we call that person in the center. However, is that really a Muslim? Let's see. According to Islam, a woman has to be covered, has to be, you can see even, you shouldn't even be able to see her eyes. Nowadays, many people, even in Saudi Arabia, they send their children, boys and girls, to school without head cover, without covering the face or the eyes. Egypt is the same, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Jordan, many Islamic countries don't follow this nonsense. However, according to the Islamic Institute, according to the Islamic teaching, these are extremists. These are the extremists. Why? Because they are not really applying what Islam says. So they are automatically extremists. Okay, if you are supposed to go to work with a uniform, a particular uniform, and you don't wear your uniform when you go to work, you're really acting out of order. You're disorderly now. And in Islam, that's your uniform. That's the woman's uniform. And when she doesn't wear it, she's extreme. She is disorderly. So definition of extremism would vary from one group to another. So extremism or Islamic extremism to an average person living in America or in Europe who is, let's say, agnostic or Christian or Buddhist, extremism is don't hurt other people. That's extremism. Whereas to an average person who is applying the teaching that came 1400 years ago, commanding him to slaughter, it's very hard to, I don't want YouTube to give me another strike, but I'm going to put it in the description box, because in the description box at least it is written. But I'm going to give you some examples. Okay, so during the time the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, I'm trying to respect him. I'm doing my best. Okay, so I don't know what else to do really, but anyway, there was a military leader he appointed. His name was Khalid bin Walid. I'm going to put some, there is a video about him, but unfortunately it's in Arabic. I wish somebody can do a subtitle to this video. You can watch it. And this Khalid bin Walid, he did two incidents. The first one during the time of the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him. He killed some Muslim people, Muslim who had beef with them, whom he hated, but they were Muslims. So he went to their village and he wiped them out. And I'm going to give you what the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, said. All that he said, Allah, I raise up my hand in like I can't do anything towards this guy who killed the Muslim people. It's kind of like, God, I wash my hand of this. I have nothing to do with it. That was wrong, but I wash my hands of it. And the reason here, and probably the Muslim Shia get this more correct. This guy, he was leading the army, and he was a little bit bloodthirsty, not a little bit, very bloodthirsty person. So whomever he doesn't like, he would, the whole village, the whole town, it doesn't matter. He didn't care. And the Prophet of Allah knows that this is the military leader. He couldn't do anything about him because You see, any military leader in any country, if he go against the system, he practically took over. The president or the top leader or the government, with all the tanks and all the military power in his hand, no one can stand against him. And that was the situation of the Prophet of Allah and this guy Khalid bin Walid. He was the military commander. Okay? And he used to send money and women to the Prophet of Allah, those who were captured. So there was benefit coming. So why stop him? Just Allah forgive him, please. I'm getting benefits. Later on, after the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him personally, this military leader, Khalid bin Walid, he saw a woman that she was very beautiful. He wanted to claim her. Her husband was a prominent man, and he was a leader of a tribe. How can he claim her? The same way the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, claimed Safiya bint Huyay, the Jewish young woman whom they took care of her husband, her father, her brother, her whole tribe. And on the way back, after they finished the invasion, they built a tent for the Prophet, and the Prophet took care of her to comfort her. Her whole tribe were killed, so he had to, comfort the poor woman night time. And he had to release also. The guy was tense all day. Okay, he had to, this is all pressure building up, and he had to get it out. So, Sayyidina this is how they say it in Arabic. Sayyidina Khalid ibn Walid means our Lord or our Master. All the Prophet and all of his companions, when you mention them, you say Sayyidina, that means our Master. I don't even think the Christian, when they call Jesus, call him our Master, or like he is the master and we are the servant. I don't think any other religion does that. So, not just the Prophet our master, no. His followers, the four main caliphates. When a Muslim man mentioned one of their names, he would say, our master Abu Bakr, our master Omar, our master Khalid bin Walid. And this guy, he liked the woman. So what he does, he goes and finds an excuse, try to find an excuse to call her husband an infidel, kafir. So what do you do with the kafir? And the man told him, you are killing me not because I'm not a Muslim. You are killing me because you want to have your way with my wife because she is pretty. And this is basically, the Shiite are spilling this clearly, Muslim Shiite, because they don't respect any of the followers of the Prophet of Allah except Ali. For me, I don't care about any of them. But anyway, they got it more correct. So that he kills, listen to this, he kills the husband, split his head, and he cooks food and makes fire, and he puts two stones, and he takes the head and puts it as a third stone, and puts the pot to cook his food, using the head as a third anchor to support the pot. He cooked the food and the head is burning, and he takes food and eats. A person with this kind of mentality, this is mentally disturbed. We call him our master. Did anyone take a step back and see, is that a normal behavior of a human being? This is definitely a mentally disturbed person. And we take him as an example. And his boss, to take a woman after you kill her father, brother, husband, and violate her same day, you are also mentally disturbed. So let's now talk about the main subject, what happened in September 11th, because many people say the people who did that are Muslim extremists. They are not centered Muslims. But according to the Islamic tradition, these are following the teaching of the Prophet of Allah. May the blessing of Allah be upon him. Why? Because in Islam, it says, fight the infidels without exception. I'm going to put that in the description box. Fight them. Kill them all. Fight with the intention to get rid of them. It's either they become Muslims or there is no need for them to stay alive. So those 19 hijackers who hijacked the airplanes and hit the Pentagon and the two towers, they were not extremists, in my opinion. Maybe some people try to make the thing mild and say, no, they are extremists. No, the extremist is the person who does not apply Islam, like a girl going to college or to school and not wearing hijab. Like a person who is eating during Ramadan. He doesn't fast. This is the extremist. But the Muslim who is fighting the infidel, he is applying the teaching of the Prophet of Allah. May the blessing of Allah be upon him. He is applying the teaching of Islam. So it is not really extreme. So the people who destroyed the World Trade Center and attacked the Pentagon, and they were trying to also go to the White House, attack the White House in Washington, D.C., these are not extremists. These are, I call them, the true Muslims, because they are applying Islam. And if you are a Christian, and for example, Jesus told you to love your enemy, and if your enemy hurt you and you forgive him, and not only that, but you take gifts and go and give it to him as a present, trying to show that you forgave him, I would say you are a true Christian. If a Jewish man, a Jewish person, testify honestly that this person did not kill, even though he put himself at risk, this is because in Judaism, do not murder. And if a person is accused of murder and another Jewish person come to his aid, this is applying Judaism, or applying, he's a true Jew. He's not extremist. Okay? The extremist is the person who violates the teaching. And the 19 hijackers, they did not violate anything. They were applying the teaching. Now, we come also to the situation of Gaza. My heart really bleeds when I see the people, the innocent people of Gaza, because we have to put a distinction between the people of Gaza, the innocent people of Gaza, and Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist Islamic, they call themselves Islamic organization, and they are true Muslims. They are not extremists. No. Because what they do is they apply Islam. They are fighting especially the Jews. In the Quran really so much against the Jews. So they are fighting the Jews. So they are true Muslims. Okay? Those who are not interested in fighting, in my opinion, I call these people are the extremists, because they are not applying the teaching. Now, whether the teaching is right or wrong is not the issue now. I believe this teaching is totally messed up. Okay? Says putting the right wrong and the wrong right. Okay? And therefore, it's evil. In my opinion, it's evil. But these people, what they are doing, they are applying the teaching properly. So now it's also about a year since the incident of October 7th, 2023, when Hamas, under the leadership of Yahya al-Sinwar. By the way, for those who do not know who this man is, he is the mastermind who put together the October 7th invasion. He is the mastermind. Who is this man? This man was actually in the Israeli prisons before. And if you remember, in one of the clashes between the Israelis and Hamas, a young soldier, his name was Gilad Shalit. This young man was taken as a prisoner by Hamas. And the Israeli authority negotiated his release. It took a while. And at the end, this young man, this Israeli soldier, was released to Israel in exchange of, I think, 1,200 Hamas criminal. One of them was Yahya al-Sinwar. During his time in prison in Israel, this man, he had brain cancer. And even though he was a prisoner, Israel took care of him and operated on his cancer in his brain. And they saved his life. And he continues staying in prison. And instead of having any human feeling that, yeah, it's not personal, I did some bad stuff against them, so they put me in prison, but when I was sick, they treated me as a human being, and therefore maybe I should change. No. He became more resentful, more anger came in him. So he was released in exchange. 1,200 people from Hamas returned to Gaza in exchange for one single Israeli soldier, Gilad Shalit. So the idea came to Yahya al-Sinwar after he been released. Okay, in exchange for one Israeli soldier, we got 1,200 Palestinian Hamas terrorists. Okay, what if we take couple of hundred people, hostages. We have 6,000 prisoners in Israel, terrorists. We can take them all out in exchange. And meanwhile, we can apply the teaching that says, terrorize the enemy of Allah. That's in the book of Allah. Terrorize them. So we terrorize them, we take our prisoners, and we give them whatever left that we don't need them to feed them or take care of them. So that was the mind of that. These are all kind of like eccentric people, really mentally disturbed. Their way of thinking, that is not natural for a person to think of killing and murdering with this magnitude. You know what, if there is a situation and you are defending yourself and you hit somebody or shoot somebody to defend yourself, that's, acceptable to many people. You are not attacking, you are defending. But in all cases, you send people to invade, and after they invade, they murder. After they murder, they rape. Systematically, this is going on for 1400 years now. So when you find out that the people who did September 11th, they slaughter women in the airplane, on the airplane, before they did whatever they did, because there was a phone call and a woman was talking to her husband or something, and she said they slaughter a hostess to put fear in the heart of the people. That is a command, to terrorize people. And now, my question to these people who are following this nonsense, okay? The Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, he told you very clearly, that in the last day, I'm going to put this in the description box, in the last days you will fight the Jews, and the tree and the boulder, in the translation the stone, but it's not like a small stone, it's like a boulder, will call the Muslim man, "Oh Muslim, come behind me a Jew." It's like it's actually mentioned in the Arabic language. If you want to insult a person, you call him a Jew. So when you say a Jew in the Islamic culture, is like belittling somebody or insulting somebody. If you want to insult a person so badly in Islamic culture, you call him a Jew. So the boulder and the tree will call with that discussion, disgusted, "Behind me a Jew, come and kill him. Muslim, servant of Allah, come and kill this guy. Come and kill him." Did any of you take a step back and look at the situation of Gaza and the innocent people who are dying now because of the stupid decision that an idiot like Yahya Sinwar took almost a year ago, to put all these people in such situation? His miscalculation, his stupid brain calculated to put the people of Gaza in such a situation. They go, they kill they destroy, and they go and hide in the tunnels that they built. And above them they put hospital, they put innocent people, they put elderly, and when the Israeli army come to capture them, they are hiding behind the women and the children and the elderly and the hospitals. So to get to them, they know there will be casualty in the hospital, casualty among women, casualty among kids, casualty among innocent people, so that they can go with their propaganda and say, you see what the Israeli doing to us? You don't talk about what you are doing to other people. You didn't calculate well. Okay? In my opinion, what you did was so stupid. And it will spell disaster. I really don't know what the future of the innocent people of Gaza, because Egypt doesn't want them. Because they know once they let the innocent people in, with them will come Hamas, pretending they are civilians. If they let them in Jordan, the same thing. Wherever they go with this sick mentality that they inherited 1400 years ago. They cannot overcome that. And if, this is my final question for you, if, as the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, told you that in the last days that the tree and the boulder will scream that behind me a Jew, come and kill him, isn't that the time now? Isn't that the time? Why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? When we see that the messenger Gabriel, the angel, was so busy when the Prophet of Allah was here on earth 1400 years ago, and in the invasion of Autas, when the Muslim captured these people, and captured the men, they were not killed yet. Men were still alive. The men were still alive. And the army of the Prophet, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, went to the Prophet, asked him, we have the women now, is it okay to have sex with them? Because the Arabs actually didn't do these things. If they invaded, one tribe invaded another, they wouldn't violate the women if the husband is alive. If the husband is killed in the fight, later on they will claim the woman as a slave, but not while the man is still alive. So here they went to the Prophet of Allah. They told him, the husband's still alive, can we have sex with these women? And Gabriel, the angel, consulted with the Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him also, and the Allah told Gabriel, go quickly, tell the Prophet it's okay to violate these women. So Allah was more concerned with the army of the Prophet of Allah to violate sexually these women. He didn't take time. He quickly sent Gabriel to tell the Prophet it's okay, Allah allowed us to F them, so go ahead and F. It's okay, Allah send me the... Why the Allah doesn't send anybody now to help Hamas to kill the Israeli army? It's all nonsense. Nonsense. It would have... This is the time. This is more appropriate time than the time of Autas. Because, hey, Autas was just to F these women. Here you are fighting for survival against the Jews. We thank you very much, and we hope to hear from you.